You always want to start with the brief itself. It explains what you need to actually do in the scenario you're working on, and it helps to explain the outline of what you're doing. So in this case, the scenario is to create a database organization called Get Our Beaches Clean. A small group of volunteers which review all the beaches every year. They hold information about beaches, volunteers, and yearly reviews, and they're categorized by their type, so sandy. Everything else is pretty much simple. The important bit is this bit here, where it will tell you the specifications of what specifics you have to watch out for. So for instance, the number of times the beach has been cleaned is recorded. A volunteer may be assigned to one or more districts, which is important to know. The district only has one volunteer, and a beach has a cleanliness rating of 1 to maximum of 3. 1 is the best rating. So that just tells you how to be aware of what parts the database might find more important than others, and certain things like how many volunteers can be assigned to a district is also rather important. So they don't always come with a set of data like this, and at the moment we just split that into several different tables. But first off, we need to go into the question itself to be certain of what's actually needs to be split. So you read through this bit here, and it will say you to create an efficient database structure that minimises data duplication, accepts data provided, uses recognised naming conventions, and ensures data integrity. All that basically means is you've got your table, split it up so everything has got only one value and it's all in there, and make sure that nothing is named something silly, so don't call it, you know, person name or something, call it first name, last name, etc., so it's clear what you're doing. And what you have to do at the end is screen print your database relationships. So you take one screenshot of what your relationships look like once they're all connected. So what we do, go onto here, rotate that clockwise. Now I normally draw on it, but I can't do that on the browser, so that's not going to work. But what you can do is you look through here, you'll notice that there are several ID tabs, so district ID, volunteer ID, beach ID, etc. So these are our main table headings, and we can split things up quite quickly from that. So what we need to do in this case is go to table 1 here and go to design view, and once we've done that, we'll call this one beach ID to start with. Let's do it at school. There we go. Actually, that's a bad idea. I shouldn't call it beach ID. I should call it beach, actually. Right, close it down and reopen it. So you can rename a table once you're doing it. Yeah, that's for pictures, I think. I'll do. And there we go. So go into design view. And so beach ID is our first one. So beach ID. And that should always be an auto number. And we go through here, we think of all the things that should be related to beach. So in this case, beach name should be one of them. Just underscore, so we need to. Beach name should be a short text. And we've got beach type. That should also be a short text. Now, lifeguard actually fits for either beach ID or volunteer ID, but I believe in the model answer it's actually on the beach. We'll put lifeguard in here as well. That should be a yes/no. So for the lifeguard one, because it's a yes/no answer, we can go through and we can select yes/no, and that'll give us a little box we can tick rather than having to worry about typing in yes or no. So if we screw through it again, we should see beach IDs in there. The rest of them all seem to be unrelated. Beach names in there, beach types in there, lifeguards in there. The rest is all fine. Now, the reason I'm not including things like district name and things like that is because those are separate to a different table. Because obviously each beach might belong to only one district, but a district may have multiple beaches inside of it. So we can't guarantee that that district is always going to be the same as a beach. So we always make sure we split them up. Same with the review year and things like that. So that's our beaches done, and we do is just go back to table view and save it. Now notice what I'm not doing is entering any data into it. If you enter data into the tables at this point, we start to link it up later on. Unless every bit of data is entered correctly, it will throw errors. So it's normally easier to make all the tables first, and then you can start actually putting the sort of data in afterwards. So we'll make another new table. So create table and design view again. We'll call this one volunteer. There we go. Right, so we have two volunteers, one called Frost and one called Janasek, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Don't hold me to that one. Right, so you have volunteer ID first, which is this one. And we then have volunteer surname. And then we've got volunteer where is it? Mobile, that was it. Mobile. Now, you could put volunteer mobile as a number, but I suggest you leave it as a short text, because if you do a number, the 0 would get removed. So it's best to leave that as a short text, ironically. Now if you look through here, there's nothing else that relates to a volunteer. We've got the volunteer mobile, volunteer surname, volunteer ID. Everything else is separate, so it's normally not something we need to worry about. So we can say volunteer is done. Click off that one. Now we've got that sorted out. Let's go on to another one. Now normally when you're working through this, the best thing you can do is cross off all the bits you've done. So either print it out and just cross it off, or go onto Adobe Reader and just put the pen on it and just quickly scrape out the bits that you've actually done, and that will make it a little bit easier if you know what data is left. I'm using the browser right now, so I can't do that, but obviously that is something you can do to actually ensure you've got all the data in the tables. So we've got the design view again, and we've got the beach and the volunteers. So we're now going to go on to the district, because that's our third ID. So district ID. So write district in there. There we go. And you whack in, if I spell it correctly, ID. And then we can do district name. Is there anything else we need? So we've got district ID, district name. Everything else seems pretty much clean. Can't see anything else needs to go in there. Yep, that seems fine, so we can close that one down. Right, so we've got 3 tables so far: the beaches, district and volunteer. Now, as far as I can see, there's no other IDs on there. So there's no obvious tables we can use now. We've still got some things that haven't been used. So in this case, rubbish collected, number of cleanups in a year, cleanliness review rating. They're all things that haven't actually been done yet. So what we can do is make a separate table and put that data in there. So we'll call this one, let's say review year or something, called yearly review, might be a better name. And we can give that a, did you review year ID? Probably not, because there's no ID currently set to it. So what we'll probably do is give that a year first. We've got review year, so let's put review year in there. And don't make this an alter number, because this one has actually got a set number assigned to it. So if we give it an alter number, we might not be able to put all the details in we need. So we'll put it as a short text this time for now. And that's got 218, 219, 218, 219. So yeah, that's probably the best option for a short text. So we need to put in the number of cleanups in year, and we need to put in cleanliness review rating. Right, so we need to put in number of cleanups in year. Let's put number of cleans for simplicity. Make that a number. Right, so rubbish collected and cleanliness. Also a number. And we need a cleanliness rating. Also a number. Right, that should be all the data so far. So we've got beach ID, we've got rubbish collected, number of cleanouts, district name, review year, volunteer mobile, volunteer surname, beach name, volunteer ID, beach type, lifeguard, district ID, and cleanliness rating, all of which are now included. So we close that down. Now we want to view the relationships at this point, so the best we can do is close down all of these tabs here. Go to database tools and hit relationships. If we add all the tables we've got here, you should then see them as they sit. Now at the moment we can't link anything up because there's no assigned names that link to anything. And this is an important part of the task, is to actually look at your data and see how it would fit. So we know from the brief that every district can only have one volunteer. If we scroll back up here, so we know that we need to, a volunteer may be assigned to more than one district, and we know that a district has only one volunteer, and the rest of the information is obviously quite clear. So all we have to do now is decide how we're going to link all this information up. And there are a number of ways we can do it, but logically there's only really sit in one particular flow. So if we've got volunteers here, they really should be going one-to-many to districts. And because a district can have many beaches, it should be going one-to-many to beaches. And because a beach can have many reviews, it should go one to yearly review. So we should be seeing a cascade effect where a volunteer goes into district, which goes into beaches, which goes into yearly review. So what we can do with that is, if we go back to our design tab again, inside of district, we can add a new value called volunteer ID. Now this should be a number, so it links to our auto number, and we can then save that and close it. We drag like that. That means we have one volunteer who can work on many districts, but only one district can have one volunteer. So that way we know that its referential is correct, because we know that our volunteer can be assigned to multiple districts, and our district only have one volunteer, so that's correct. So now we're thinking of our district would logically have multiple beaches, so we need to think how we're going to link that together. In this case, it'll be districts to beaches and a one-to-many. So do the same thing again, open up beaches, we click design view, and we go district ID. Always make sure your ID is the same as your other IDs in the relationship tab, otherwise it will get confusing. As you can see, district ID is easy to understand. If you put ID and ID together, you may not be clear what you're doing, so always make sure they're named the same, and that way when you do this, it becomes a lot clearer. Now with the yearly review, this one's a bit more complicated, because, when I get the right around, it's not necessarily possible to tell which piece of information is which just based on the review year. So currently our review year is the primary key, but if we look inside of this data, we can see, for instance, that each district has 2 cleans each year, and so if we were to do a year based on just the year alone, we would never be able to get the right district, because it would always be a different district. If we did it on the name, we'd find that the name itself would again relate to a different year. So the only way we could ensure that we've got the right year for the right district, because obviously it's done by district, which links to the beach as well. So what we're best off doing is adding in second primary key, and this time do it on is it beach or districts uses. So let's have a look. We've got Boroughside, Cumberson, North End. And we've got Castle, Bastion, Sidewind. Now, theoretically, in this situation, either could work. But, looking at our relationships, we know we've got one district to many beaches, and so it's likely that the cleanliness review links to the beach. So if we put a beach ID here, or a district ID here, either one could work depending on how we've linked it up. But I'm going to assume in this case it's the beach ID. That seems the most logical one to go for. So we can jump in Uni Review and go to here, and this time we'll set a beach ID. And we'll just jump into the number there, assign that as a primary key and that as a primary key. Let's go actually do it. It just has a bit of a habit sometimes not doing this. There we go. So the way to do this, click on your first one, hold Control down, click on your second one, then right click, and that'll give us your beach ID, and it should link up there. So now I've got two primary keys, they should now be linked, so click that, save it. And what we can then do is we can link beach ID to beach ID, and that should now work. Now be aware, it may be linked to the beach ID, but it's got two primary keys, so all that means that will sort based on what district it is, so what beach it is, and the review year. I'll actually give you relationships for this particular setup. Be aware you might not always be asked to do two primary keys. You may be asked to only do a one-to-many relationship, a one-to-one relationship, or a many-to-many relationship, depending on the task. But in this case, it's just the simple link of a one-to-many. Now, what we do here is to enter all the data.